Distinguished shareholders, you are welcome to the 9th Annual General Meeting of your company, VFD PLC. The time now is 11 a.m. I now call on Bukola James Cole, the representative of the registrars, to announce the attendance report and confirm if a quorum has been formed.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, esteemed directors, regulatory bodies, and distinguished shareholders. My name is Bukola James Cole, and I represent Africa Prudential PLC, the registrar to VFD Group PLC. We confirm at the start of this meeting that we have a total of 89 shareholders by proxy and self, holding 1,024,684,531 units of shares and representing 80.88% of the company's issued share capital. With this information, we hereby confirm that a quorum has been duly formed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Following the announcement made by the registrar, I therefore have the pleasure of declaring this meeting open. Please be advised that this meeting is being streamed live and also being recorded. May I ask somebody on the platform may I invite Mr. Gafar Folami to say the opening prayer.
Can you hear me, please? Good morning.
We can hear you, please. Go ahead.
Okay, let us pray. Oh Lord, our Heavenly Father, I want to appreciate you for this meeting. We pray you be with us as we deliberate on the affairs of the company in Jesus' name. At the end of the meeting, let us return all the glory to your holy name in Jesus' name. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your company decided to hold a virtual annual general meeting in line with the company's and other matters, in line with the company's memorandum and articles of association and Business Facilitation Miscellaneous Provisions Act 2023. Having said that, it gives me pleasure to introduce myself and those participating with me at this meeting. At this meeting is the Group Managing Director of your company, Mr. Nonso Okpala. Also at this meeting are Ms. Rashida Saleh, Ms. Omolola Bolushire, who I believe is online, Dr. Nneka Okekearu, Mr. Adegboyega Fatoki, Mr. Adeniyi Adenubi, Mr. Mobolaji Adewumi, Mr. Azubike Emodi, Mr. Abe Ibrahim, Mr. Hubert Asamoah, Mr. Chuks Ozigbo, Mr. Kelvin Orogun, Mrs. Morenike Ominike, Mr. John Okonkwo. Also here is our Company Secretary, Ms. Bemini Soda. My humble self, the chairman of the company, Olatunde Bisari. We have with us representatives of the following regulators: the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, Ms. Madeline Ino Okoli. Representing the Nigerian Exchange Group, NGX, Mr. Bonaventure Onwuji. Representing the Corporate Affairs Commission, however, no representative, but I believe we didn't receive any notice of a representation. I also would like to introduce to you representatives of the following: the external auditors, PricewaterhouseCoopers, represented by Mrs. Chidi Ocheji and Mr. Osagi Akibe. Representing the registrar, African Prudential PLC, Mrs. Bukola James Cole. Representing the Statutory Audit Committee, the chairman of the committee, Alhaji Kabiru Tambari. The board evaluation consultant, Ernst & Young, Ms. Orevagene Olugwa, and Ms. Chineye Ogwa. I will also like to specially recognize and acknowledge the presence of the chairman of the Nigerian Exchange Group PLC, Alhaji Umaru Kwaranga. Please be reminded that this meeting is being streamlined and recorded. When you want to speak, please ensure you are in a quiet environment with good network. Then indicate by using the raise hand feature and wait for me. Wait for the chairman to invite you to speak, and you'll be unmuted. You can also type in your questions and comments in the box using the chat feature. We will endeavor to address all these questions. Please state your name clearly and endeavor to be brief and straight to the point. I urge you not to repeat what has already been said. Kindly also know that the register of directors, shareholding, and the record of attendance of directors at board meetings are available for viewing by contacting the registrars. Please also note the requisite information is also available in the annual reports. I will now invite the company secretary, Ms. Bemini Isoda, to read the notice of meeting.
Notice of the 9th Annual General Meeting of VFD Group PLC. Notice is hereby given that the 9th Annual General Meeting of VFD Group PLC will hold electronically on Thursday, 8th of May 2025 at 11 a.m. to transact the following business. Ordinary business. 1. To lay before the members the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2024, together with the report of the directors, auditors, and the audit committee. 2. To declare a dividend. 3. To re-elect the following directors retiring by rotation: Mr. Olatunde Busari, SAN, Mr. Noso Okpala, Mr. Adeni Adenubi, and Mr. Mobolaji Adewumi. 4. To reappoint the firm PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, as the auditor of the company in accordance with Section 401 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. 5. To authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the auditors. 6. To elect or re-elect members of the Statutory Audit Committee in accordance with Section 404 sub 3 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. 7. To disclose the remuneration of managers of the company in line with the provisions of Section 238 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. Special business. 8. To consider and if thought fit, pass the following resolution as an ordinary resolution: that the remuneration of all the non-executive directors until further notice be and is hereby fixed at 127,880,000 naira only for the year ending December 31st, 2025. Such payments to be effective from January 1st, 2025. To elect or appoint the following directors: Mrs. Morenike Ominike. B. Mr. Abe Ibrahim. C. Mr. Hubert Asamoah. 10. To consider and if thought fit, pass the following resolution as special resolutions: that in accordance with Section 430 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 and all other applicable laws and regulations, the directors are hereby authorized to capitalize the sum of 3,167,127,750 naira out of the balance standing to the credit of the share premium of the company as at December 31st, 2024, and available for distribution, and to appropriate the said capitalized sum to the members of the company holding 1,266,849,100 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each in the capital of the company, and registered as at the close of business on Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025, which is the transfer date, on the condition that the sum appropriated shall not be paid in cash, but applied in paying up in full at par on behalf of such holders 6,334,245,500 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each, bonus shares, which bonus shares shall be issued and allotted, fully credited, paid up in full and at par, to members in the proportion of 5 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each for every 1 ordinary share of 50 kobo each now held by them as at the transfer date, and which bonus shares shall rank pari passu in all respects with the existing ordinary shares of the company. 10.2. That the directors be and are hereby authorized to deal with fractional shares resulting from the issuance of the bonus shares as they deem fit pursuant to the extant laws. Resolution 11. To consider and if thought fit, pass the following as special resolution: that the shareholders approve that the company's share capital be and is hereby increased from 633,424,550 naira divided into 1,266,849,100 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each to 3,800,547,300 naira divided into 7,601,094,600 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each by the creation of 6,334,245,500 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each. Resolution 11.2. That pursuant to Resolution 11.1, that Clause 6 of the Memorandum of Association of the Company be and is hereby amended to read as follows: that the share capital of the company is 3,800,547,300 naira divided into 7,601,094,600 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each, with the rights, privileges, and conditions attached thereto as are provided by the Articles of Association of the Company for the time being, with power to increase or reduce the capital of the company into several classes and to attach thereto respectively such preferential, deferred, qualified, or special right, privileges, or conditions as may be determined by or in accordance with the Articles of Association of the Company for the time being, and to vary, modify, or abrogate any such rights, privileges, or condition in such manner as may be provided by the Articles of Association of the Company for the time being. Such right, privileges, or condition in such manner as may also be provided by the Articles of Association of the Company. That the directors be and are hereby authorized to enter into any agreement or execute any document, appoint such professional parties, perform all such acts and all such other things as may be necessary for or incidental to effecting the above resolutions, and to approve, sign, and or execute all such documents, agreements, and other documents that may be required or necessary to the transaction, subject to obtaining the approval of relevant regulatory authorities, including without limitation complying with the directives of any regulatory authority. Resolution 12, to consider and if thought fit pass the following as special resolution: that directors be are hereby authorized to raise additional capital of up to 50 billion naira through an offer by way of issuance of shares, whether by rights issue or by public offer, public global depository receipts, commercial paper, loan, convertibles, non-convertibles, medium-term notes, bonds, and any other such instruments, either as a standalone or by way of program, in such tranches, series, or proportion, as such coupon or interest rates within such maturity period, and on such terms and conditions, including through book building process or such other processes, all of which shall be determined by the directors, subject to obtaining the approval of relevant regulatory authorities. 12.2. The directors be and are hereby authorized to enter into any agreement and or execute any other document necessary for and or incidental to effecting the resolution above. And 12.3, the directors be and are hereby authorized to appoint such professional parties and to perform all such other acts and do all such other things as may be necessary for all incidental to effecting the above resolution, including without limitation, complying with directives of any regulatory authority. Dated April 10th, 2025, by order of the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bemi. Distinguished shareholders, the chairman's statement is contained on pages 26 to 30 of the annual reports, copies of which have been distributed to shareholders and is also available on the company's website. Kindly waive my reading of the statement and please deem it as read. Thank you. Distinguished shareholders, the Group Managing Director's statement can also be found at pages 32 to 43 of the annual reports, copies of which have also been distributed to shareholders and is available on the company's website. Equally, kindly please kindly waive the reading of the statement and please consider it as read. Shareholders are encouraged to pick up the physical copies of the annual report from either the company's office or the registrar's office, whichever is convenient. Thank you. I will now invite the representatives of the external auditors to read the auditor's reports.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I would like to seek permission from the shareholders and other stakeholders to read a summarized version of the audit opinion. It can be found on page 93 to 97 of the annual report. So please, your permission, sir, to read an abridged version.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you very much. The independent auditor's report. In our opinion, the consolidated and separate financial statement give a true and fair view of the financial position of the company and its subsidiaries together the group as of 31 December 2024, and the financial performance and the separate cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with the International Financial Reporting Standards as issued by the International Accounting Standards Board and the requirements of the Company and Allied Matters Act and the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria Act. We have audited the statement of profit or loss and comprehensive income, the statements of financial position, statement of changes in equity, statement of cash flows, and the notes to the financial statements. We have conducted our audit in accordance with the international standards of auditing. We are also independent of the group in accordance with the International Code of Ethics for Professional Accountants. On page 94 is the key audit matters, which are matters in our professional judgment, while most significant in the audit of the financial statement. Key audit matters are expected credit loss on loans and advances to customers and the impairment of goodwill. We have also highlighted the responsibilities of the directors and the auditors. I'd like to read out the report on other legal and regulatory requirements found on page 97. The Company and Allied Matters Act requires that in carrying out our audit, we consider and report to you on the following matters. We consider that we confirm that we have obtained all the information and explanations which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purposes of our audit. The company has kept proper books of accounts so far as appears from my examination of those books, and returns adequate for our audit have been received from locations not visited by us. The company's statement of financial position and statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income are in agreement with the books of accounts and returns. In accordance with the requirements of the Financial Reporting Council, we have performed a limited assurance engagement and reported on management's assessment of internal controls over financial reporting as of 31 December 2024. The work performed was done in accordance with the FRC guidance and issued by the FRC Council of Nigeria, and we have issued an unqualified opinion in our report dated 1st of April. This was signed by Chidi Ojechi for PricewaterhouseCoopers on 1st of April 2025. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I will now invite the chairman of the Statutory Audit Committee to read the committee's report. Alhaji Tambari.
Mr. Chairman, Board of Directors, regulatory authorities here present, my colleague shareholders that have joined us virtually, I would like to read the report of the Audit Committee on page 86. I will read, Mr. Chairman. Report of the Audit Committee to the members of VFD Group PLC. In accordance with the prohibition of Section 404(4) of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, the members of the Audit Committee of VFD Group PLC hereby report on the financial statement for the year ended December 31st, 2024 as follows. We have exercised our statutory functions under Section 404(4) of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 and acknowledge the cooperation of the management staff in the conduct of these responsibilities. We are of the opinion that the accounting and reporting policies of the company are in accordance with legal requirements and agreed ethical practice, and that the scope and planning of both the external and internal audits for the year ended 31st December 2024 were satisfactory and reinforce the company internal control system. We have deliberated with the external auditors who have confirmed that necessary cooperation was received from management in the course of the statutory audit, and we have satisfied with the management response thereon and with the effectiveness of the company system of accounting and internal controls. Members of the audit committee are myself, Kabiru Tambari, Akintola Oladapo, Mr. Chijioke Ogoji, Mr. Kelvin Orogun, Mr. Adeni Adenubi, with my FRC number 2022 PRO auditcom/002 00002370, dated March 28, 2025. Thank you very much.
Much, Alhaji Tambari. Distinguished shareholders, please take notes of the report of the external consultants on the board evaluation of the company at page 85 of the annual report. Resolutions by poll. Pursuant to Section 248 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, I hereby declare that a poll be taken on the resolutions for consideration at this meeting. Shareholders that did not sign in have the opportunity to vote at this meeting by using the voting links and token provided by the registrars. Since the votes on all the proxy forms duly submitted have been collated by the registrars, I will ask the registrars to collate the voting results, including the votes on the proxy forms, and the outcome of the votes done here after conclusion of the voting process on each resolution upon their introduction. The first item on the agenda is to lay before members the audited financial statements for the year ended December 31, 2024, together with the reports of directors, auditors, and audit committee thereon. I hereby lay before you the report for the year ended December 31, 2024. You now have the opportunity to ask questions regarding the reports and accounts. In doing so, it will help to ensure that we give the to the reports and accounts to which your questions relate. The chairman recognizes you to speak. I will take 5 questions from shareholders, that they have a stable internet connection and are in a quiet environment disruptions. If you are unable to speak, you are encouraged to drop your questions in the chat box. Your questions will be read and addressed. Your cooperation in helping us conduct a smooth and efficient meeting. Can we have questions on presented? Chairman, sir.
Mr. Chairman, let me begin with full disclosure that I'm here not as a shareholder of VFD Group, but as a very good friend of VFD and a life brother to the Group Managing Director and Chief Executive of VFD Group, Mr. Nosra Okpala. However, let me state that after going through the annual accounts, I've seen the tremendous growth and the generous sharing of benefit of that growth to the shareholders in terms of not only dividend by bonus. Today, I'm assuring you that I'm going to call my stockbroker to buy me VFD shares today. Let me equally state that I'm the group chairman of the Nigerian State Group, and we at the Nigerian State Group, we are very proud of VFD. VFD joined the main board of the NGS not long ago, but VFD had demonstrated the resilience, not only in terms of financial performance, but in terms of corporate governance. Looking at the quality of the directors, looking at the adherence of the rules and regulations of NGS, which has been excellent in terms of returns of not only the financial performance, but all information that are for disclosure to the shareholders, we are proud that VFD have taken the right decision to leave NASD and join the main board of the NGS, because that's where VFD belongs to. When you look at VFD and the result I have seen, from a loss in 2023 to a tremendous profit that makes you to declare not only the dividend and bonus. Very few organizations that are quoted on the Nigerian Stock Exchange are doing that. And I believe this is a testament of the caliber of the people that are seated here today as directors of this organization. And let me state, all the performances that we are seeing, they are not by magic, they are not by miracle, but by hard work. And I'll give credit to the board management, staff of VFD, and especially the Group Managing Director, Nonso Okpala, because he has been my colleague on the NGX. VFD is one of the major shareholders in NGX. I know the strategic views of Nonso and the execution skills that have made us to turn around NGX today, that everybody is proud of this organization. When you look at the history of NGX, and when Nonso Okpala and others have joined the NGX today, we will all be proud ourselves, not only to be a Nigerian, but an organization that has come of age, that we can be able to beat our chest and say that we can compete not only within the sub-Saharan Africa, but I can say the whole of Africa for now. So I know the contribution of Nonso at our board, being our chairman of the Strategic and Investment Committee of NGX. All those results that people are seeing are part of the hard work, the initiatives, the strategic ideas that have been brought to that board. And we'll forever remain grateful because we know the legacy we are going to leave behind at that NGX. And I believe this is something that people can even copy to say that today people will be associated with the NGX. So I want to conclude by congratulating the VFD group for a job well done in 2024 and wish you success in 2025. We are together with you from NGX. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We're also proud to be a member and a part of the NGX. Mr. Bolarin Waige, I can see your hands up. You are unmuted. Bolarin Waige. After Bolarin Waige, then Bukola Adetunji. Okay, Bukola Adetunji, you've been unmuted. Any further comments or questions from? In unmuting you for all the members on the platform virtually, you will first be upgraded to be a panelist. Don't decline being a panelist. Accept it. Then they can unmute you. Bukola Adetunji, I can still see your hands up. Ademola Adejuwon. Okay, there is a question from Micah Erumaka. In light of Nigeria's shifting macroeconomic conditions, what risk management strategies is VFD Group prioritizing across its portfolio companies to protect shareholders' value as we expect hope for a stellar 2025? John, do you want to respond to that question?
Hello, my chairman.
Yes.
My name is Tojiba Midede.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
My chairman.
Go on, we can hear you.
Yes, my name is Tunji Bamidele.
Go ahead,
I'm a
Bamidele.
president of Starlight Shareholder Association of Nigeria, leader of professional investor in Africa. I'm fortunate to be a shareholder of this company. My chairman, we are sincerely appreciate you, appreciate the management team and people working in that organization, particularly our MD. Mr. Nonso, I've been knowing for many years. He's a go-getter. In fact, we can reach our chest anywhere in Africa or globally that is an achiever. For this report, it's fantastic, my chairman. And we have go through everything. We see a lot of disclosure in the report. And there is alignment between the Secretariat and Finance Department to telling us that even a layman can understand this report. My chairman, there's one area where we need to look at it. A previous speaker said certain thing about the bonuses. In fact, it is encouraged. There is no record of some kind of thing in the capital market for long period. We are ready to give all needed support, my chairman. In fact, as a leader of across Africa, we are ready to support the company to the level we are going. But one area I want you to look at it, in area of return, please, sustainability. How can you be able to sustain this return? Secondly, we are looking at CSSR. Please, we appeal to the management to generalizing it and increase it to the next level. Thank you. God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the vote of confidence and the words of assurance. The question embedded in your comments will be answered by Mr. John Okonkwo. Another question from Bukola Adetunji, or comments? Bukola Adetunji. There is a comment here from Omo Joseph Omo Jeve. VFD is the only company whose shares are bought that has my interest at heart. I will not mention the name of the company. I have shares in other companies. He mentioned about 6 companies, but none has ever invited me to take part in their AGM. I feel very happy to belong. I will increase the number of my shares by buying more after this age. Thank you very much. Bukola Adetunji, can you unmute and speak, please? Congratulations to this Catherine Nwosu. Congratulations to VFD Group for the wonderful performance. It is also a great privilege to have the chairman of NGX present at your meeting. That's for you, Alaji. Mr. Tolagbe Taufik, can you unmute and make your comment or ask your question? There is a question on Q&A on financial performance. Vivian Oko Olutunfeshe, Esquire. Can management explain the drivers of the 94% increase in gross earnings and whether this growth is expected to continue in the coming year? With 37.6 billion in finance costs, what steps is the company taking to reduce debt and improve interest coverage? On dividends and returns, given the turnaround from losses to profits, Is the board considering a dividend payout this year or investment for growth? I think that will be answered by the time we are concluding this meeting. What is the company's dividend policy going forward, especially after this strong financial performance? On strategy and risk, what are the key risks the company foresees in the next 12 months, and how is it mitigating them? What is the growth strategy for the top performing subsidiaries, and are there any plans to divest underperforming units? This shareholder is... There's another question from Robert Ibekwe. Greetings, Chairman. Mine is not question, but commendation. I'm personally enthused with the company, but especially with the MD. His understanding of the dynamics of the capital market is a testament to what is driving the fundamentals of our company, VFD. I say that he keep up the good work. I wish our company well and to remain at the top. Thank you very much, Robert. I think we can pause here and allow John Okonkwo and then the group MD, since he's the one they mentioned his name most. And nobody has requested the chairman to answer any question. So, John, over to you. God, where is the mic?
You know, John has a way of answering questions by sending it to someone. First, I would like to appreciate a lot of the questions that have been asked. It shows the level of attachment shareholders have with the company. With respect to risk is one area that we would rank as high as governance, where we know that the success of the company is particularly tied to it. And just as governance, risk is, we look at it from two perspectives. First, from the company operating perspective. Second, from the investee or the subsidiary levels. On the company perspective, not to sound so operationalized, we have a weekly risk assessment and mitigation strategy that we have in place. It is part of the management conversations. On the subsidiary levels, we have what we call a centralized critical function, which has, in addition to risk, other critical aspects of a company's operation that we try to have supervisory overview of for our respective subsidiaries. On that level, we have a top 3 risk strategy, which we consistently deploy. At every point in time, we focus on those top 3 risks, and whenever it is resolved or sufficiently mitigated, we add another one to it to ensure that consistently we are tracking our risk. In terms of sustainable returns, I think it's part of the gospel we've been preaching for a long time. VFD has been in operation now for about 16 years. And in those years, we've been cultivating, we've been building, we've been laying the foundation. Most of the work that we've done for the early 14 years, we are now at the stage when we are harvesting it. And that's why you see that in 2024, as part of our revenue base, were divestment in investments that we made, proceeds from divestment of investment. So going into the future, as we evolve both in our business model and in leveraging the gains that we've accumulated through the years, you would see good results going into the future. I recognize the congratulations that we are giving, so we do appreciate that too. In terms of finance cost, very critical question. Yes, we've mentioned that we have been laying the foundation. Laying the foundation requires making investments. When you make those investments, you have to wait some time for the returns to come. But as it is, you've tied down cash. And part of the rollout of that, or the further implication of it, is you would leverage sometimes to make those investments. There are 2 ways that we think that we would address the huge finance costs, and it will be significantly to the benefit of shareholders and the performance of the company. The first way is strategic divestment. The second way, which is part of the appeal we're making to shareholders, is to approve our proposed capital raise. And when we do that, what you would see is a replacement of the debt with equity, and the cost you see here would sit in our financials as profit. And so, yes, it's a challenge, but in resolving the challenge, we will have a huge benefit that will go to shareholders too. Dividend payment is part of the prayer that we are making. So to answer your question, I think you should just support the proposition that we have with respect to dividend, and the question will be answered. Our dividend policy is a minimum of 30% of PAT to be paid out to our shareholders, a minimum. So it can as well be 100, but it's a minimum of 30%. I think I will hand over to John to pass back the baton to John to respond to the last one, if any addition.
I think all questions haven't been answered. Sorry. All questions haven't been answered. I adopt all that has been said as mine, and there is nothing more to add. What is the fate of investors that purchase shares at IPO? I bought at IPO when VFD just came on board at NGX. Until this moment, all I have recorded is loss. What does that mean? It's not possible. If you bought at IPO, then you'll be listed. His name will, can we have
I think it's important to reach out to you and get further clarification on the question and complaint. Based on what we have achieved, post-IPO there was a loss in 2023, but in 2024, as presented to shareholders, now there is a resounding profit, and there are benefits to shareholder in terms of proposed split, bonus, and dividend. So what we will do is we'll try and reach out to you subsequent to this event so that we get a good understanding of the question or comment and see how we can address it. Thanks.
We will try to read all the questions, and then we have just one final response from Mr. Okonkwo. Okay. We appreciate the sterling performance recorded in 2024 financial year. Can you please highlight how this will be sustained going forward? I think this has been mentioned. In respect of VFD Ghana's growth, what is the status of VFD South Africa? And are there moves towards a North American and European subsidiary? Or is the focus in the next 10 years mainly African in nature? What is the timeline for the expected 30% return on equity from Movies, Herel, and newly invested companies? Yes. Herel and newly investment companies before divestment. VFD is a company we hold in high esteem, and their performance has been exemplary. We commend the management and staff for their dedication and hard work. Thank you. Technology advancements. How is VFD Group leveraging technology to stay ahead in the competitive fintech landscape? Where is the well done? There's one well done. Well done Mr. Alonso and team, please be informed that the shareholders' accounts have not been credited with their shares from the last year's split. I will also like to know when we are to be credited with the new bonus issue. I guess it is supposed to be automatic, but Africa Prudential should comply. I won't say what they said. They said you should comply. I do have a question for our able chair. With the current recapitalization deadline around the corner, is VFD through its microfinance arm looking towards organic growth or evaluating acquisition channels? I believe merger isn't on the table as VFD is already a David Titan in the Goliath market. I think we've, is there any other? We've taken enough so that we can move on and not get the meeting protracted. Go on, sir.
Okay, thank you, Chair. There's a question about leveraging technology. I think for VFD, technology is very critical to what we want to achieve. We have an ecosystem strategy, and that ecosystem strategy is built on the back of technology. We have in our midst two MDs of technology companies that we're invested in, and we are very positive that they will continue to provide the support we need to execute that strategy. There was a question on North America investment. I think the individual the shareholder is a strong strategist. Maybe we would engage him as we continue to fashion out our strategy for North America. Yes, we have such ambitions, but we've not fully articulated that strategy. We think that Nigeria and Africa is still a very fruitful ground that we should explore. In terms of VFD South Africa, point of correction, it is not VFD South Africa, it's VFD Southern Africa. We have a strategy of using South Africa as a base to explore opportunities in the Southern African part of Africa. On an African-wide basis, the ambition is still there, but we would like to focus on a strategy of deepening the verticals that we have in Nigeria and in Ghana. And when we've successfully deepened it, we would replicate in key African locations. I think that's the key strategy for us in that respect. It is painful to hear that a shareholder who has not received his bonus since the last year's split, I will push it to African Prudential, as they were rightly mentioned, to help look into it and address it. With respect to the question on the capitalization of MFB, though directed to my chair, but I'm here to serve the chair, so I will try and answer the question. We had just calculated a 5 billion recapitalization of the MFB, and so we are ahead of the curve with respect to the required capitalization. We're looking to do a further capitalization so as to strengthen the base of the MFB to serve the market that we look to serve. In the next 18 months maximum, we will do a second capitalization so that we're consistently ahead of the curve on the banking operations. Thank you very much. Is there any other question?
The final question is, I will be most grateful to know the proposed schedule for the capital raising exercise that is slated for approval at this AGM. The capital raise.
My chair, like you know, we are subject to the approvals of shareholders. So once the shareholders approve the proposition, then we would initiate immediate steps to execute it, and information will be circulated accordingly. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your interest in the company. Thank you very much for the very, very good questions that the shareholders have asked. And we believe that those questions have been answered. We'll now proceed with the meeting. The next item on the agenda is the declaration of dividend in the gross sum of 3,167,122,750 naira. For the financial year ended December 31, 2024, the directors are recommending a dividend of 2 naira 50 kobo for every ordinary share of 50 kobo, each to all shareholders whose names are in the company's register of members as at Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. Distinguished shareholders, before we take the rest of the agenda, I now call on Bukola James Cole, the representative of the registrars, to take us through the voting guide.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, I will now proceed to explain the procedure for casting your votes. Prior to this meeting, we received and captured the voting details for 79 shareholders by proxy and holding 1,019,055,982 units of VFD Group PLC shares, which represents 80.44% of the company's issued share capital. At this meeting, we will be collating the votes cast here in addition to the proxies received to get the final voting results. Distinguished shareholders, you have now received an online voting access and a unique token personalized to you via email or SMS representing your shareholding in the VFD group. Kindly log in using the voting link and the token or refresh your screen if you've already done so. Once we commence the voting process, the resolution under consideration will be displayed. Please select for to vote in favor of the resolution or against to vote against the resolution. Note that you can change your vote during the voting session, but once the voting period ends, the last selected choice will be recorded as your vote. The voting period will last for just 60 seconds. Thank you.
Are you ready, Registrar? I hereby move that a dividend of 2 naira 50 kobo for every ordinary share of 50 kobo each be paid to shareholders whose names appear in the company's register of members as at the close of business on Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. Would a member please second this motion? Akim Lawal Oluwa, online.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Akim Lawal. I do second the motion.
Thank you very much, Akim. I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, kindly proceed to vote in line with your voting decision. The voting session will now commence. Please remember we have 60 seconds. The voting session has commenced. Can we have it projected, please? And the voting session has now ended. And we have a total of 1,033,039,852 shares, all voting in favor of this resolution. Thank you.
Nobody against?
No.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. The next item on the agenda is the re-election of retiring directors. In accordance with Section 285, subsection 1 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020, at the annual general meeting in every subsequent year, 1/3 of the directors for the time being shall retire from office and be eligible for re-election. The directors retiring by rotation and who being eligible have presented themselves for election are Mr. Olatunde Busari, my humble self, Mr. Nonso Okpala, Mr. Adeniyi Adenubi, and Mr. Mobolaji Adewumi. In line with good corporate governance, I would like to hand over to the chairman, nomination and governance committee, Mr. Kevin Orogun, to take up the proceedings for the resolution of my re-election. It's not working.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Good.
I hereby move that Mr. Olatunde Busari, SAN, who is retiring by rotation and has offered himself for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected. Would someone please second the motion? Who has seconded? Okay, Emeka Eruaka has seconded the motion. I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting section.
You should speak, eh? Let him speak. The Emeka.
Okay, can Emeka second it, please?
Let him speak. Unmute him.
Maybe if we can hear Emeka speak, so we can put it on record.
Jonathan Okpe. So it's okay.
Jonathan Okwepe.
Okay, so I think we have another person seconded. Jonathan Okwekwe. Can we maybe hear him?
Sorry, okay, hi, good morning. My name is Okpala Emeka. I vote for the continuation of the chairman and the other members of the court. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Distinguished shareholders, kindly proceed to vote in line with your voting decision. The voting session has commenced. We have less than 30 seconds to go. The voting session is gradually coming to an end. The session has now ended, and we have 1,077,881,124 shares representing a total of 100% and all voting in favor of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Registrar. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. So I will hand over to the proper chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh. Thank you very much for the re-election. I hereby move that Mr. Nonso Okpala, who is retiring by rotation and has offered himself for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected. Will the shareholder please second the motion? If physical, not necessary. Gafar Folami.
I second the motion. My name is Erin Folami Gafar.
Thank you very much, Gafar. I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting exercise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Kindly proceed to vote in line with your voting decision.
Unless if they don't want their dividend, that's when they won't vote you back.
Distinguished shareholders, kindly use the link provided and the token personalized to vote. We are gradually coming to the end on this resolution. The voting session has now ended. And we have 1,097,516,522 shares, representing 99.93% and voting in favor of the resolution, while we have 796,875 shares, representing 0.07% and voting against the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. Congratulations, Mr. Nonso Okpala. I hereby move that Mr. Adeniyi Adenubi, who is retiring by rotation and has offered himself for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected. Would a member please second the motion? Bolarewa Ige. Right. Can you please unmute Bolarewa again? Yes. Go on, Bolarewa.
Hello, sir.
We can hear you.
My name is
I
Bolarewa. I
Okay.
second the motion.
Okay. And
Thank you.
Oseme can also seconds. Go on. I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Kindly proceed to vote in line with your voting decision. We have less than 30 seconds to go. We're gradually coming to the end of this session. The voting session has now ended. And we have 1,098,878,303 shares, representing an approximation of 100% and all voting in favor of the resolution, while we have 43,398 shares, representing 0.000000% and voting against the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Registrar. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. Congratulations, Mr. Adeniyi Adenike. I hereby move that Mr. Mobolaji Adewumi, who is retiring by rotation and has offered himself for re-election, be and is hereby re-elected. Would a shareholder second the motion, please? Mr. Peter Oyanokwe. Peter Oyanokwe. Adebayo Williams. Okay, Peter Oyanokwe. Oyanuku, you can speak. You are still muted, Peter Oyanuku. From Osemekan. Jonathan Okwekwen, you are up, you can speak.
I hereby support the motion. My name is Jonathan Okwekwen.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Kindly proceed to vote in line with your voting decision. The voting session is ongoing. We have less than 30 seconds to go. The voting session has now ended, and we have 1,055,718,102 shares, representing an approximation of 100% and voting in favor of the resolution, while we have 33,880 shares, representing an approximation of 0.00000% and voting against this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Registrar. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. Congratulations, Mr. Mobolaji Adewumi. The next item on the agenda is to reappoint the firm of PricewaterhouseCoopers PwC as the auditor of the company in accordance with Section 401 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. I hereby move that PricewaterhouseCoopers PwC be reappointed as the auditor of the company in accordance with Section 401 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020. Will the shareholder please second the motion? Peter Yanuku.
I do. Peter Yanuku support the motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Peter Yanuku. I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting exercise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Kindly proceed to vote in line with your voting decision. The voting session has commenced. We have less than 30 seconds to go. The voting session is gradually coming to an end. The voting session has now ended, and we have 1,098,730,630 shares, representing an approximation of 100% and voting in favor of the resolution. Now we have 2 shares with an approximation of 0.0000% voting against the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Registrar. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. The next item on the agenda is to authorize the directors to fix the remuneration of the external auditors, Messrs. PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC. Section 408, subsection 1 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 requires that their remuneration be fixed by the company in a general meeting or in such a manner as the company may determine at the general meeting. I hereby move that the directors be and are hereby authorized to fix the remuneration of the external auditors for the year ending December 31st, 2024. Will the shareholder please second the motion? Mr. Adebayo Williams. Mr. Adebayo Williams. Zainab Adamu is raising her hands up. Zainab Adams. Who again?
I, Zainab Adams Olaomi, I hereby second the motion.
Thank you very much, Zainab. I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Kindly request that you proceed to vote in line with your voting decision.
No.
The voting page is now up. Kindly proceed to vote in line with your voting decision. We have less than 30 seconds to go. The voting session has now ended. And we have 1,091,299,231 shares, representing an approximation of 100% and voting in favor of the resolution. And we have 23,895 shares, representing an approximation of 0.00000% and voting against the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Registrar. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried, and accordingly the directors are hereby authorized to fix the remuneration of the external auditors for the year ending December 31st, 2025. The next item on the agenda is the election of members of the Statutory Audit Committee. The directors nominated to represent the board on the Statutory Audit Committee are Mr. Kevin Orogun, Non-Executive Director, Mr. Adeniyi Adenubi, Non-Executive Director. The company secretary has confirmed that a total of 8 nominations were received. However, only 6 nominations were valid for membership of the audit shareholders. The nominations received from Mr. Akingbongbe Harry and Mr. Otukoya Oluwases included on the ballot due to their non-compliance with the eligibility criteria stipulated under Section 404, subsection 5 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act and Principle 11.4 of the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance, NCCG, which require nominees to be financially literate. Such literacy must be evidenced by certification or qualification. Accordingly, the following members have been validly nominated to represent shareholders on the Audit Committee. Alhaji Kabiru Abdullahi Tambari, a shareholder. Mr. Chijioke Iheayin Ugochi, a shareholder. Ms. Ifeoma Okonkwo, a shareholder. Mr. Anthony Nwamara, a shareholder. Mr. Alagbe Akinlolu, a shareholder. And Mr. Olatunji Bamidele, a shareholder. I will now invite the registrars to explain the voting process and conduct the election of the Statutory Audit Committee, which shall be done by a show of hands using your voting device.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the election of members of the Statutory Audit Committee by KAMA is to be conducted by show of hands. Hence, the result will be read out by the number or count of shareholders who have voted either by proxy or virtually at this meeting using their voting applications. As the Audit Committee is to comprise of 3 shareholder representatives, shareholders are encouraged to vote for 3 of their preferred nominees and abstain from voting for others. The 3 nominees receiving the highest number of votes will be appointed as members of the Audit Committee. Thank you.
I hereby move that Alhaji Kabiru Abdullahi Tambari be nominated to represent shareholders on the Audit Committee. Would a shareholder please second? Chineye Omolola Ojo. Omolola Ojo, you can speak. Chineye Ogwa or Zainab Adams?
I, Zainab Adams, I second the motion.
I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, we can now proceed to vote. For Alhaji Kabiru Abdullahi Tambari, the voting session has now commenced. We have less than 30 seconds to vote for Alhaji Kabiru Tambari. The voting session has now ended. And we have 102 shareholders voting in favor of Alhaji Kabiru Tambari, and we have 8 shareholders voting against. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I hereby move that Mr. Chijioke Iheanyi Ugoji be nominated to represent shareholders on the audit committee. Would a shareholder second the motion, please? Eyanuku, Peter. Who again? Peter Eyanuku, you can speak.
Hello?
Hello, you can speak, we can hear you. Okay. Zainab Adams. Zainab Adams.
I, Zainab Adams, I hereby second the motion.
I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The voting session will now commence to vote for Mr. Chijioke Iheanyi Ugorji. The voting session is ongoing. We're gradually coming to the end of this session for Mr. Chijioke Iheanyi Ugorji. The voting session has now ended. Please let's proceed to the next. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I move that Ms. Ifeoma Okonkwo be nominated to represent shareholders on the audit committee. Can I have a seconder, please? Adekombi David. Akim Lawal. Akim Lawal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Lawal Lulu. I do second the motion.
Thank you. I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting exercise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, we will now proceed to vote in line with our voting decision for Mrs. Ifeoma Okonkwo. The voting session is open for voting. We have less than 30 seconds to go. The voting session for Mrs. Ifeoma Okonkwo is gradually coming to an end. The voting session has now ended. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I move that Mr. Anthony Nwamara be nominated to represent shareholders on the audit committee. Will the shareholder second this motion, please? Morenikeji. Hello.
My name is Moren Dikeji Folosele. I second the motion.
Thank you very much, Morenikeji. I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The voting session will now commence. Distinguished shareholders, kindly let's proceed to vote in line with your voting decision for Mr. Anthony Nwamara. We have less than 30 seconds to go. The voting session for Mr. Anthony Nwamara is gradually coming to an end, and the session has now ended. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I hereby move that Mr. Alagbe Akinlolu be nominated to represent shareholders on the audit committee. Can I have a seconder, please? Abiodun Adegbola. Abiodun Adegbola. Ajani Adetunji. Christiana Olalekan. Omolola Ojo. Omolola Ojo. Ademola Adejuwon. You're muted, you can
Yes,
speak.
I second the motion. My name is Adejuwon Ademola.
Ademola.
Yes, my name is Adejuwon Ademola Timothy. I second the motion.
Thank you very much. I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrar to conduct the session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Kindly let's proceed to vote in line with our voting decision for Mr. Alagbe Akinlolu. The voting session has now commenced. The voting session is ongoing. The screen is frozen. Yes, we have less than. The voting session is gradually coming to an end. The screen is actually frozen. The voting session has now ended. Is that the result? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Then I hereby move that Mr. Olatunji Bamidele be nominated to represent shareholders on the audit committee. Would someone please second this motion? Morenikeji.
My name is Morenikeji Foloseli. I second the motion.
Thank you very much. I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Kindly let's proceed to vote in line with our voting decision for Mr. Olatunji Bamidele. The voting session is ongoing. We're currently voting for Mr. Olatunji Bamidele, and the voting session is gradually coming to an end. The voting session has now ended.
Thank you.
Distinguished shareholders, kindly give us a few seconds to collate the votes, the results, so that we can announce the top 3 shareholder representatives.
Our impartial INEC.
The results will be projected soon. Thank you. And the result is hereby projected. We have in order of a majority, Mrs. Ifoma Okonkwo, who has 108 votes, Mr. Chijoke, who has 106 votes, Mr. Alaji Kabiru Tambari, who has 102 votes, Mr. Anthony Wamara, 33 votes, Mr. Alagbe Akinlolu, 33 votes, and Mr. Olatunji Bamidele, 18 votes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Registrar. I hereby move a motion that the following persons be and are hereby validly elected as members of the Statutory Audit Committee. Ms. Ifeoma Okonkwo, a shareholder. Mr. Chijoke Goji, a shareholder. Alaji Tambari, a shareholder. Mr. Kevin Orogun, non-executive director. Mr. Adeniyi Adenobi, non-executive director. Can I have a seconder in support of this motion, please? Christina. Christina Olalikon.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Lawal Oluwa. I do second the motion.
Lawal Oluwa. Thank you. I now put we don't need to put it to vote again, do we? It's been voted already. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried, and I congratulate all the members elected into the Statutory Audit Committee, Ms. Ifeoma Okonkwo, Mr. Chijioke Ugoji, Alaji Tamberi, Mr. Kevin Orogun, and Mr. Adeniyi Adenobi. Thank you very much. Section 237 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 requires companies to disclose the remuneration of managers. Please refer to page 171 of the annual report for details of the remuneration of managers as required by law. This is for information purpose only. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is for the shareholders to approve the appointment of Mrs. Morenike Ominike, Mr. Abe Ibrahim, and Mr. Hubert Asamoah as Executive Director and Non-Executive Directors of the company. May I request the approval of shareholders that Mrs. Morenike Ominike be and is hereby appointed as an Executive Director of the company. Can I have a seconder, please? Adekombi David. Adekombi David. Zainab Adams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Lawal Oluwakim. I second the motion.
Thank you very much. I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Kindly proceed to vote in line with your voting decision. The voting session is ongoing. We have less than 30 seconds to go. The voting session has now ended, and we have 1,089,999,926 shares, representing an approximation of 100%, voting in favor of the resolution, and we have 277 shares, representing an approximation of 0.0000%, voting against the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. Congratulations, Mrs. Morenike Ominike. May I request the approval of shareholders that Mr. Abe Ibrahim be and is hereby appointed a non-executive director of the company. Will the shareholder please second the motion?
I had a Zainab Alawmi. I have a second motion.
The name again?
Zainab Adams.
Zainab Adams. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting session.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Kindly let's proceed to vote in line with our voting decisions. The voting session is ongoing. Please let's proceed to vote. We have less than 30 seconds to go. The voting session has now ended, and we have 1,090,023,846 shares, representing an approximation of 100% and voting in favor of the resolution. And we have 7,415 shares, representing an approximation of 0.00000% and voting against the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. Next, may I request the approval of the shareholders that Mr. Hubert Asamoah be and is hereby appointed as non-executive director of the company. Can I have a shareholder second this motion? Christina Olalekon. Christina Olalekon. You need to unmute, Christina.
Thank you, Mr.
Adam
Chairman.
Zainab Olaomi.
Oh, you put that one, you are the fellow of somebody. No,
Akim Laalolua.
ọ̀pẹ́ náà ni.
Looks like we have left the area, but it's not there. Adams.
I, Adam Zainab Olaomi, I hereby second the motion.
Thank you very much. I now put the motion to vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Kindly let's proceed to vote in line with your voting decision. The voting session is ongoing. We have less than 30 seconds to go. The voting session has now ended, and we have 1,047,992,638 shares, representing an approximation of 100% and voting in favor of the resolution. We also have 24,020 shares, representing an approximation of 0.0000% voting against the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. Congratulations, Mr. Samuel. The next item is a resolution to fix the remuneration of directors of the company. I hereby move that the remuneration of all non-executive directors be and is hereby fixed at 127,880,000 naira only for the year ending December 31, 2025. Such payments to be effective from January 1st, 2025. Will someone please rise and second this motion? Peter Ayanoku. Peter Ayanoku. Who again? Christina Olalekon. Christina Olalekon, please unmute and speak. Zainab Adams.
I, Zainab Adams, I second the motion.
Thank you very much. I now put the motion to the meeting and call registrars to conduct the voting exercise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Kindly let's proceed to vote in line with your voting decision. We have less than 30 seconds to go. Distinguished shareholders, kindly proceed to vote. The voting session is still ongoing. The voting session has now ended, and we have 1,047,245,351 shares, representing a full 100% and all voting in favor of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. The next item on the agenda is the bonus shares issuance. Members may consider and, if thought fit, pass the following resolution. A, that in accordance with section 430 of the CAMA and all other applicable laws and regulations, the directors are hereby authorized to capitalize the sum of 3,167,122,750 naira out of the balance standing to the credit of the share premium of the company as at December 31st, 2024, and available for distribution, and to appropriate the said capitalized sum to the members holding 1,266,849,100 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each in the capital of the company, and registered as at the close of business on Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025, being the transfer date, on the condition that the sum appropriated shall not be paid in cash but applied in paying up in full at par on behalf of such shares 6,334,245,500 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each bonus shares, which bonus shares shall be issued and allotted, credited as fully paid up in full at par to those members in the proportion of 5 ordinary shares of 50 kobo for every 1 ordinary share of 50 kobo now held by them as at the transfer date, and which bonus shares shall rank pari passu in all respects with the existing ordinary shares of the company. B, that isn't me. That the directors be and are hereby authorized to deal with fractional shares resulting from the issuance of bonus shares as they deem fit pursuant to the extant laws. Will the shareholder please second this motion? Mr. Bolarin, where are you going? Bolarin, where are you going?
Please, that you can come and find out people of my age who in this caliber are actually doing things. So let me know, if you went to private university, is there one decision you're going to take it? And then for those people that...
Zainab Adams.
I, Zainab Adams, I hereby second the motion.
Thank you, Zainab. I now put the motion to the meeting and call on the registrars to conduct the voting exercise.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Kindly proceed to vote in line with your voting decision. The voting session is ongoing. We have less than 30 seconds to go. The voting session has now ended, and we have 1,048,701,139 shares, representing 100% and all voting in favor of the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. Next item on the agenda is the increase of share capital. Members may consider, and if thought fit, pass the following special resolutions. That the shareholders approve that the company's share capital be and is hereby increased from 633,424,550 naira divided into 1,266,849,100 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each to 3,800,547,300 naira divided into 7,601,094,600 ordinary shares of 50 kobo by the creation of 6,334,245,500 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each. B, that pursuant to Resolution 11.1, that Clause 6 of the Memorandum of Association of the company be and is hereby amended to read as follows. The share capital of the company is 3,800,547,300 naira divided into 7,601,094,600 ordinary shares of 50 kobo each with the rights, privileges, and conditions attached thereto, as are provided by the Articles of Association of the company for the time being, with power to increase or reduce the capital of the company into several classes and to attach thereto respective such preferential, deferred, qualified, or special rights, privileges, or conditions as may be determined by or in accordance with the Articles of Association of the company for the time being, and to vary, modify, or abrogate any such rights, privileges, or conditions in such manner as may be provided by the Articles of Association of the company for the time being. Such rights, privileges, or conditions in such manner as may be provided by the Articles of Association of the company for the time being. C, that the directors be and are hereby authorized to enter into any arrangements and or execute any documents, appoint such professional parties, perform all such other acts, and do all such other things as may be necessary for or incidental to effecting the above resolutions, and to approve, sign, and or execute all such documents, agreements, and other documents as may be necessary or incidental to the transaction, subject to obtaining the approvals of relevant regulatory authorities, including without limitation, complying with the directives of any regulatory authorities. Would a shareholder please second this motion?
Bolarin Waige, I second the motion.
Bolarin Waige, thank you very
Second
much.
the motion.
I now put the motion to the meeting for votes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Kindly let's proceed to vote in line with our voting decision. The voting session has now commenced. The voting session is still ongoing. We have less than 30 seconds to go. The session has now ended, and we have 1,042,741,838 shares, representing an approximation of 100% and voting in favor of the resolution, while we have 127 shares representing an approximation of 0.000000% voting against this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. The next item on the agenda is the raising of additional capital. Members may consider and if thought fit pass the following special resolution. That directors be and are hereby authorized to raise additional capital of up to 50 billion naira through an offer by way of issuance of shares, whether by rights issue and or public offer. Global depository receipts, commercial papers, loans, convertibles or non-convertibles, medium-term notes, bonds, and or any other instruments, either as a standalone or by way of programs, in such tranches, series, or proportions, at such coupon or interest rate, within such maturity periods, and on such terms and conditions, including through book building process, or such other processes, all of which shall be as determined by the directors, subject to obtaining the approvals of relevant authorities. 2, the directors be and are hereby authorized to enter into any agreements and or execute any documents necessary for and or incidental to effecting the resolutions above. And 3, the directors be and are hereby authorized to appoint such professional parties and perform all such other acts and do all such other things as may be necessary for all incidental to effecting the above resolutions, including without limitation, complying with directives of any regulatory authorities. Will the shareholder please second this motion? Rahman Olaleko. Kunle Akomu. Kunle Akomu. Mika.
Mike Erumaka, I second the motion.
Thank you very much, Mike Erumaka. I now put the motion to the meeting and call for votes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Distinguished shareholders, the voting session will now commence. Kindly proceed to vote in line with your voting decision. The voting session is ongoing. We have less than 30 seconds to go. We're gradually coming to the end of this session. The voting session has now ended, and we have 1,048,765,039 shares, representing 100%, approximately 100%, and voting in favor of the resolution, while we have 2 shares representing approximately 0.000000000% and voting against the resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Registrar. I hereby declare that the motion has been duly carried. And now, ladies and gentlemen, as there is no other business on the agenda, I thank you all on behalf of the board for attending the meeting and showing so much in your company's affairs. For activity, invite Zainab Adams to closing prayer.
Oh my God. Okay, so Alhamdulillah, I'm a Muslim, so
Go ahead, Zainab.
Alhamdulillah for this. Sir?
Go ahead, please.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen for a successful annual general meeting, and I pray to Almighty Allah that by the next time we converge for another annual general meeting, we'll record more profit, more growth, and not any cost to record losses, inshallah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Inna hatayna kalakawsar. Fasalli rabbika wanihar. Inna shani'aka wal abtar. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Zainab, for representing the gender very well. Yeah, can we have the national anthem, please?